Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Nathan back with another video presentation here on YouTube. I hope each and every one of you are having a great weekend. We're getting ready for the work week, staying safe. It is April, the first Saturday in April. Easter is almost upon us. Spring is somewhat in the air. Um, cannot believe it's April. I cannot believe that, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Before we get into the video, this is episode 19. 19? Yeah, no, episode 20, excuse me. It's episode 20 of the podcast, season 6, Picnic Sports Talk podcast. Um, in this video, we'll be breaking down the final four week. We're going to recap the final four for the women, and then we're going to recap the national championship. Congratulations to the University of South Carolina Gamecocks as they defeated the University of Connecticut Huskies. So we're going to start with the final four recap, and then we're going to break down the national championship game. Episode 21, we will focus on the men final four and give the preview for the national championship. As far as the Orioles and national videos for the prediction video, those two videos will end season 6, and we will start season 7 with opening day for Major League Baseball for the Orioles and Nationals, of course. WNBA mock draft will be up. I'm looking along the lines of Tuesday, Wednesday, because the draft is actually coming up. We're about almost a week. It'll be a week from tomorrow. A week from tomorrow on the 11th. So be tuned. I will definitely have the mock draft 3.0. That's going to be the final mock draft for the WNBA 2020 the 2022 draft. Definitely be tuned in for that. Sean Spencer, shout out to Sean Spencer. We've come out with a date. We will do our final mock draft 2.0 next week. So be tuned in for that. Where we're still looking to see if there's any big time move that's going to happen with free agency. I will just say this for the record: some things did change with the mock draft for 2.0. For me, I don't know, but I can't speak for Sean. So definitely be tuned in for that, ladies and gentlemen. And that's really kind of where season 7 is going to be at. We will get into we will break down the NBA playoffs. We'll definitely be recapping those games. As far as the Wizards go, ladies and gentlemen, I've mentally checked out watching them. They got blown out by 42 points today against the Boston Celtics. I'm done with them. We only got 5 games left. I'm throwing the white flag on the Wizards. So that is pretty much the announcements that I have for the podcast, upcoming episodes. Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, be tuned in for those episodes. So with that being said, let us get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. The final four for the ladies. I'll be honest. The Huskies surprised me. I didn't have them getting far as the Sweet 16. I thought the matchup, I would have predicted them going against Iowa. That didn't happen. I was predicting that all 4 number 1 seeds, South Carolina, Louisville, Stanford, and NC State, would have gotten to the Final Four. I have to eat crow and accept the fact that Maryland, I said they were going to be in the Final Four, and then I was wrong on that prediction. But UConn, I got to give it's that was surprising. That was a good overtime. It was a good game. Overtime against NC State. We already talked about it in the previous episode. We're not going to talk about Coach Westmore again and the decision making on his part. But we're going to start with the Lady Gamecocks versus the Lady Cardinals, Stanford. Biggest, for me, takeaways in that game. The final score was 72-59. Aaliyah Boston, who's been on the tear, had led the way with another double-double. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but she definitely, I'll say, and she, even though she had a double-double in tonight's championship game, which is now 30 double-doubles, just another dominant performance. That's what a player of the year looks like. I think the biggest thing for me I took away from it was Louisville had to figure out how to use its size to take advantage, how to create mismatches against South Carolina's size. And I didn't see that. They really didn't make a dent in South Carolina's defense like I thought they would. Particularly going listing like in the first few minutes of the game. Offensively, when they're on the boards, on the defensive side, offensive side, South Carolina, they are in the trenches battling for those offensive rebounds. I mean, they drew a couple fouls. I know they, particularly in the first quarter, they had 14 points. Louisville only had 4. Because it just, again, that's the length inside. There was just no answers to, trying to commit, get, for example, Aaliyah in foul trouble. I was looking to see how Louisville would take advantage of that. I do feel like Louisville coming out the gates was a bit flustered. Particularly, I was seeing a lot of missed layups. We're not slowing the, we're not taking when particularly in the playoffs. Well, in any sport, the game slows down, and I think when you slow down and you run a play, you have to set the tone, and I didn't see that from Louisville. I just saw they kind of were like, well, we're kind of getting our ass kicked, and then kind of were panicking. There was no nerve that I just see. I was just the nerves were not calm. I think there was just a lot of jitters. That's what I saw, particularly Haley Van Lith. They completely took her out the game. I mean, Bria Beal. Her size just makes the difference. I mean, she blocked 2 of her jump shots, and then again, trying to find opportunities against South Carolina size. Didn't see that. Like they had particularly in the half court, South Carolina. There were points where Louisville was a half court press, half court trap, and a lot of if you're going to do that, it has to be a tight knit defense. Like they had 11 assists in the first half on 15 shots. Like they were at one point they were starting to double Aaliyah Boston, and what was she doing? She was getting her teammates involved. And again, that's another thing too, is the ability for an inside player like Aaliyah to see the double team and get the ball to the open player. Now, I will say that particularly going into the second quarter of that game, the Cardinals, they, particularly in transition, they pushed the pace was better. They did capitalize on some mistakes South Carolina, they had. And also, too, look at Emily Instegler, Olivia Kokarin. She had a decent game. Who else was I thinking of? Kiana Smith. They had one point had a 3-point lead, but they had no answers for Aaliyah Boston. I mean, how to even if it's just getting her doubling, we're going to make her be a passer. I'm gonna let no disrespect to Zaya Cook or Destiny Henderson. I'm going to make them shoot the ball. I didn't see that on the defensive side. I mean, again, their size, that was the key. It was just their size was just too much for Louisville. I thought the game was practically over. particularly again, the Cardinals just had no answers for South Carolina in the paint. I thought Zaya and Destiny, they made they made Olivia and Emily pay for it. They did. And then I'm also looking at, I got to give Victoria Saxton some love too. They just, on the offensive side of the ball, no answers. Like, there was a point where Louisville went into a 2-3 zone, and that still was no help, to the point where they were down 15 points going into the third quarter. I just think that I have to give the Louisville Cardinals some respect. I do think that it was a good year, but you gotta take your hat off to South Carolina. It just was one of those games. It was defensive. It was just their defense, and particularly until the last couple minutes of the game, I was like, I saw Coach Staley. She really had put out a full court press, and I'm like, wow. Okay. Even to the point, the Cardinals, same thing. They had in the half court with half court press, still no answers. Again, take your hat off to the Cardinals. It was a good season. I think, in my personal opinion, I think Emily S. Tegler made a case to be a first round pick in this upcoming WNBA draft. They got a bright future, good program. It all depends on who stays and who if someone decides to transfer. I know they're losing a couple players. The seniors, you might have some players that may leave through the transfer portal. You might have some that come from the transfer portal. Who knows? But hats off to Louisville. It was a great season. But South Carolina was just a better team, and that was one of the reasons why they were in the national championship tonight. Now, the next game, this was probably the most surprising game. The University of Connecticut Huskies. What is this? I'm having some internet trouble. Hold on. Bear with me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. This is why we have to be patient with technology, ladies and gentlemen. I was shocked. I will be the first to say that. I was completely shocked with this game. My money was on Stanford. The final score was 63-58 Huskies.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming. Or act like I know this was coming, because I did it. What the hell was that? Hey, what the hell? You freaking kidding me?
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Wow. The reigning champs. I thought coming into this game, after beating Texas, beating Maryland, I really thought they had this game in the bag. Not taking anything away from the Huskies, but this was a look. I was surprised with the scoring. That again, it came down to defense. Stanford, their size, to me, coming into this game was the factor, but to me, when you let Aaliyah Edwards and I can't think of her. I know her last name, Nelson Odota. They won the battle in the paint. That was significant. That was to me the most key thing that I saw. Now, UConn argued that I think played some of the best defense they had. I thought, again, I said coming into this game, don't bend defense. I did say that. The UConn was the better team on the defensive side. The Cardinals, offensively, again, I don't know where the offense went. The same offense that beat Maryland, the same offense that beat Texas. Now, the cracks in the way did show, began to show, in my personal opinion. I'm not being, this is just my opinion. I noticed it against Maryland because at one point they were up, I believe it was 25, and brought it down. We lost by 5 points. And fun fact, they scored 60 points. This is the 5th time they've done that. When they shot 35, I would say under 35% from the field, and 17% from three. They turned over the ball 11 times. Other than Haley Jones, who I think obviously is the star, I was looking for Cameron Brink and the Hall sisters. Lexi Hall, for example, who, to me, coming into this game, she's going into that game was averaging 22 points a game, was held to just 12 or 2 of shooting. That can't happen. That's where that points to coaching. I'm not calling out Coach Vanderbilt, but there had to be some type of adjustments. Okay, well, she's now, if I know my player is missed 6 straight shots, okay, I have to figure out how to make her get easy shots. And there was a lot of examples in the game where there are stretches where you look at Stanford offensively, like there's I'll say between 2 to 5 minutes, they look lackluster. They look completely, they look like deer in headlights offensively. Like there's a particular I think they're up 34-31, if I'm mistaken. And like UConn, they almost forced a turnover. And I hate this. I don't want to use hate. That's a strong word. It bothers me off the ball where there's no ball movement. Everybody's just standing around. And to me, you're not going to get, you got to move without the ball. We got to get a pick and roll, something. But there was a point that in that particular possession, they didn't even get the ball inside the paint. And then they jacked up a bad 3. I mean, it was just a bad possession. Now, I will say this. You have to give Stanford some credit. Repeating is tough. That's for any team. I still think that they're one of the best teams in the nation. Shout out to the Stanford Cardinals. It's going to be an interesting WNBA class these next couple years. Haley Jones, Cameron Brink, Lexi Hall, Lacey Hall. But biggest takeaway is the offense. What happened? Where were the adjustments? Getting easy buckets. I thought I knew the game was over. And the thing is, the last couple minutes of that game, UConn was giving the game away. There were at least 2 out. There were 2 turnovers, and I'm sitting going like, okay, they're going to take advantage of it. Didn't see that. I think there were opportunities Stanford did not take advantage of. Paige Beckers, she had 14. Evina Westbrook, she gave me a good 12 points. Haley Jones had 20. Cameron Brink had 15. But I look at the box score, those were the only 2 for the Stanford Cardinals that were the only ones
Where the hell are you? You got to be kidding me.
Those were only two that showed that they were in double figures. Everybody else, you couldn't find them. So it's just, you got to take your hat off to UConn. I was surprised, going into this, watching the game. I'm like, wow, okay. I will say, in the fun fact, I think they're like now the fourth team to beat the number one seed. They beat 3 number one seeds to get to the national championship. So you just got to give them credit. But I thought this had the makings of a good game. They only had 21 points in the first quarter, and that to me that set the tone for the rest of the game. Again, it was a don't break, don't bend defense. Neither side really tried to build no one tried to build a lead, and at times during the game, both sides struggled to score. UConn, they did not have a good game with the turnovers. I thought that was another key, and the free throws. That's what saved them. That's what truly saved the Huskies. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, then there were two, and it finally happened. We had the University of South Carolina versus the University of Connecticut, the national championship tonight. And I knew right out from the beginning of the start of the game, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. There's nothing you could say, nothing you could really do. If you're the Cardinals, if you were South Carolina, if you're UConn, there's nothing you can really do. I will say this. Then Destiny Henderson, got to give her a shout out. She's made her case to be a potential first round pick in this draft. She had 26 points. Again, the others. We all know coming into this game, Aaliyah Boss is the X factor, but it's the others around Aaliyah. Zaya, Bria, Destiny, Victoria. How can the others have to step up? And Destiny Henderson, I got to give Destiny also too was defending the best player on the other side of the ball. That was Paige Beckers. That was some of the best defense I've ever saw anyone play. I think that was a key to me and UConn of their turnover issues. Also, UConn having trouble in transition to stop the transition. I didn't see that because no matter where you look in transition, the Lady Gamecocks were getting easy buckets, whether that was layups or even threes. Listen. You just have to tip your hat off. Like the biggest thing was just defense. Like I will give this. UConn only had 8 points. The first quarter it was 22-8. Yes, UConn started chipping at the game, but I will say that what was surprising to me was that UConn was just sloppy. South Carolina, on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, South Carolina controlled the boards. The score, I think I wrote it down. I have 41-20. And I think getting second chance points, that's what hurts that makes a difference. And I think, again, going back to the UConn's failed to their ability they did not stop the transition. I thought the pace, they did not slow South Carolina down, and they committed 21 fouls. That can't happen. And already going, with the last minute of the game, you're sending them to the free throw line. Now, the third quarter for UConn was their best quarter that they only played. Like, let's just keep it real. Paige was really the only one out there that, other than Avina, I mean, she was held to 14 points, but she was, again, the only player in double figures. Christina Williams, she only had 2 points. AZ Fudd only had 3. And, you hear she didn't practice. She wasn't at shoot around. She was sick. Then it just, no matter where you looked, Aaliyah Edwards and what's the Caroline Dunshmead, I didn't say her name. Like, they had combined 17 points. Olivia Nelson. I mean, she had 4 points. They just had no answers. And coming into this game, UConn, they all had to play great. And the fouls, the ability, the fail, they failed at trying to stop the transition on the defensive side of the ball. And the fact that you held Beckers, Aaliyah Fudd, and Williams to just 19 points. And on top of that, I was looking for some others for South Carolina. For UConn to step in there. I didn't see it.
So when are we going to say something about it? You know what? I'm going to walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm going to say something that might get me in trouble because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
But again, I got to give the Huskies, I got to give them some respect. They won a 10-0 run. They were at one point, they were down 30-12. And then going to halftime, they were down 34-27. And then they were down 43-37. So you have to give them back. I mean, they did have some fight, but it just was no answers. No answer for the deep, no answer on the defensive side of the ball and offensive side of the ball. And I mean, again, tip your hat off to them. They were the best team, and I heard Coach G talk about this was the most trying year. He dealt with injuries. I get it, and it sucks, but they still got there. I still think that they have, they're going to lose a couple players this year, but I just don't feel like I don't know. I just feel like the media is going to find ways to make excuses instead of just calling it for what it is. Like they're still going to have. They won't have Christina Williams. I believe Olivia is a freshman. Avina Olivia's a senior. Avina's a senior. So they're going to lose some players. But I can see UConn getting back there. It all depends. But congratulations to the Lady Gamecocks. But more importantly, this was their year, and you can't take that away from them. When it was a team effort. Aaliyah Boston had 11 points, 16 rebounds. And, Zaya Cook, she gave me an 11 points, 5 rebounds. Victoria, just another example, Victoria Sexton, she had 6 points, 5 rebounds. it was a team effort. But more importantly, this team was on a mission. To just see from last year, Aaliyah missing the potential game-winning shot, and they have the shot of her crying, and then you're seeing that plastered all over social media, and then for some reason they just kept. I just never understood the behind of just continuing to play to show that over and over and over, but yet I'm not. You know what? I'm going to leave that alone. That's okay. Showing that. And I just something just clicked, and I just said they're going to win that. They're going to win the national championship next year, and you just got to give them credit. I'm happy for Aaliyah, even though she's a senior next year. We all know most likely, I'm calling it right now, Aaliyah Boston next year will be the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 WNBA draft.
Guaranteed.
So, you got to take your hat off to them. Congratulations to Coach Staley. She's definitely setting the tone for generations to come, particularly for Black women. Just the job she's doing. She's the first coach, first African American coach to win 2 national championships. You got to give her that. You got to give her flowers on that. And then it also, she won with Asia Wilson, of course. Shout out to Asia Wilson. But I think this one to me was more meaningful. I know this. I'm not taking anything away from that 2017 one. I just think this one was more meaningful because last year they should have won it, but fate said something otherwise. So they both. This one was just more genuine, even though that South Carolina team was pretty dominant. I'm not going to take anything away from it. But this one, to me, in my personal opinion, was more genuine for them. So. Because it's just for me if that was me in that position, yeah, I'm coming back fully motivated and winning a national championship. Like for example, like I'll use the Spurs when they played when LeBron James was in Miami. If Ray Allen doesn't make that 3, the Spurs win the championship. The next year the Spurs come back and it's a mission. So it's obviously. It's moments like that make you play better. Like Michael Jordan said it best. Before you succeed, you must first learn to fail. And the Lady Gamecocks, they learned and they just got better as individuals, and they kept the way they've kept each other motivated, and they've just pushed themselves and just trusted one another. That's what a championship team looks like, ladies and gentlemen. And you gotta give them the credit. So, but congratulations. It's painful that it's not Maryland. That's okay. Next year. I'm proclaiming it next year. Just again, congratulations. I'm happy for Aaliyah because we're both Sagittarius. Shout out to Sagittarius Nation. But congratulations to the Lady Gamecocks. But congratulations to the University of UConn Huskies. Shout out to the Huskies. Great season. Even though they number 2 seed to get to the national championship with the injuries that they've had, can't take that's a lot. That just says a lot about again their tenacity, their will, their fight as well. Because I think it was Christine that said at one point it was just 5 of them practicing. So it was hats off to a good game, but South Carolina was the better team. Congratulations to them again. But I just have a feeling that you're going to have some people in the media find a way to spin the narrative and make it about and try to take the moment away from the Lady Gamecocks. And I just have a feeling that's going to somebody is going to find a way to do that. But with that being said, that's it for the women season. Now we just wait and see what happens for the transfer portal. And again, congratulations to those that are seniors. Moving on to a new part of the new chapter closes, a new chapter ends, another new chapter starts. Another chapter starts for everybody. Like I said, WNBA mock draft. Destiny Henderson made a strong case that she could be a potential first round pick. But yeah, man, that's going to do it. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts. What did you guys think of the Final Four? What did you think of the national championship game? Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe. I will have to recap the men's Final Four. Shout out to Sean Spencer as North Carolina is going to the net. Where's the clip? I don't have it. Damn. I wish I had that clip. Wait, do I not have it? No, that's not the one. Okay, it's a different clip. But anywho, I will be back on to break down the Final Four for the men and then give the preview for the national championship, the Jayhawks versus those Tar Heels. So with that being said, I'm out. Peace. Stay up, y'all.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.